Hi guys. Oh, sorry it took so long, but I was literally like behind the screen feeling massive anxiety. I am very nervous right now. I think I need like music or something. I wasn't going. Yes, I have water. Uh and I have to go pee at some point. Okay. uh yeah, okay. Sorry, I am dragging this on a lot. I basically just wanted to go over some things, that, like, some points that I didn't agree with, or some things that I wanted to address, so I'm sorry if I mess up. Uh, there's a lot of people here and I'm really nervous, and I'm gonna do my best to explain things as best I can. Yeah, I'll do my best. Sorry if I wrote out a tiny bit, but still not gonna be very fluid probably because I don't have a very good speaker. But here it goes. Okay. I think off the music now. I think I'm okay, that music helped a lot in the beginning. Sorry. Okay, we can put sub mode on. How do I do that? I think it's this. Did I do it? Alright, cool, I did. I've never done that before. Okay. First thing I want to talk about was I did read through a lot of the comments. I think it was actually probably a really bad idea to, especially the first day, because there were a lot of people who were flaming me and Lily. And it was like, for someone who felt very sure and very confident in what happened to me wasn't right, it still affected me. Although I was like, I'm still sure that there's no way that it was like an okay thing. But like some of the comments that I read were just oof. And Lily, oh my. Okay, that's like a whole nother story that I'm like really upset at other people over, but like yeah. Uh okay. So the first thing that I kind of wanted to talk about was how some people were like, "Oh, that's weird. Like why did Fed like sleep in your bed like frequently when you have a when you had a boyfriend?" And that was something that felt very normal. It was kind of normalized as a Fed thing to do. He just would come into your room and he just chill in your bed on his phone or anything, and it felt super casual. Um and it was something that I guess it wasn't until I started writing this down, trying to like explain why it was like that I realized like, oh, wait a second. It was only the girls' beds. He didn't ever sleep in Toast or Scar's bed. It was always me, Mon, or Lily. And we just all saw it as like a Fed thing, right? Like, and it's also it was normal though. We'd be like watching a movie and then like he just fall asleep there naturally, and like, you know, nothing ever happened. It was just like a very casual like, we're just friends, and like sometimes you watch a boring movie or like you're watching anime and you just fall asleep. Um and yeah, it did feel like a very like sibling type of thing, you know? Uh of course thinking back, like yeah, he normalized it, but it is kind of weird because it's not like anyone else in the house kind of does that as well. But again, it was like a Fed thing. Also, Sean was aware of this. Like I uh always would tell him about anything. I never hid anything from him. So he knew that like we would just watch movies and then if Fed happened to fall asleep, he fell asleep, you know? Sorry. I might talk like a little rushed because I'm like yeah, a little bit nervous. But yeah. And yeah, that's why it was like a very normal thing. It wasn't anything like crazy. Like, why would you do that when you had a boyfriend? That was exactly what it was. And something that did make me feel uncomfortable that I do remember as I was writing this as well was I should have seen a bit of the signs where he did kind of push boundaries, or when I would ask him to not do something, there was always like pushback in terms of like uh he would take off his pants and just have and then like because it's like uncomfortable, or take off his jeans because it was uncomfortable, right? And then I was kind of like, put it back on, like you're not getting like you're that's not it sort of thing. He's like, but it's uncomfortable, and it's like, so there's like pushback. So that was something that I didn't let him do that, but like the fact that there was like I was trying to tell him no and he kept giving this back and forth with me was very frustrating. And that happened a lot, not just like in terms of that, but just in a lot of things that we did. If I said I wasn't uncomfortable with something, he would make it hard for me to say no to him because it's like yeah, just a lot of back and forth in general. So another thing that I saw a lot as well was a lot of people saying that what he did wasn't that bad, that it was just bad flirting, that he just kissed my hand, and that it wasn't a big deal at all, and we're making it to be like this huge thing where you just want to clout chase and you're just doing it for attention and just a bandwagon. It was yeah, really insane to see people say that, but uh it made me wonder like did if people like read the whole statement or not. It was like kind of frustrating. I think some people didn't read it and maybe they just read like the first two paragraphs and it was like, oh this is too long, like I can't read the rest of it. But I don't think when you flirt you would flirt your way into your friend's sleeve and like touch a very uncomfortable area that is like near, you know, uh even if I were to like, the fact that I feel like I have to do is like to somewhat demonstrate like how hard it is to go into someone's sleeve. Like you have to like these you have to like what you have to do. It is not like a casually brush like my hand against you. It is like a very invasive like weird thing that no friend would ever like. Do you do this to your friends? I don't know. It's like okay. Uh sorry, I shouldn't have to justify this or try to like explain why it wasn't okay, but sometimes you just gotta get it out. Sorry, I'm just like letting things out right now. Just some frustrations, I guess. And I don't think it's okay for people to minimize what happened to me and Lily just because on like I don't know whether it was a rating or a scale that it didn't reach the most like the highest severity, that it wasn't rape or that it wasn't like anything so intense that it was deemed like not that bad. Uh Yeah, I'm very upset. Sorry, I'm more upset, not just mostly for the fact that like so many people downplayed it, especially to Lily, and like caused her to like second guess a lot of things is just really fucking upsetting. All right, maybe I need to calm down a bit. Sorry, I'm just. Yeah. Uh, I'm gonna move on as well. And I think this is something that's really important, that I feel like I want to just say, period. Whether this has to do with my situation or not, I just want to get this message across. When people say you could have just said no, that that line blows my mind, that people will just say you could have just said no. And I'm okay, to be honest. Like, I firmly believe that that isn't correct. And no matter what you comment, you will never ever ever be able to convince me that I was wrong in that scenario. And I think my message I want to send, because like, is I want other people to hear this as well, who've like either suffered the same thing or are learning about it or anything, that you are not to blame when you didn't want it to happen in the first place. When they were the ones who put you in that position, like, how can other people minimize what you went through and try to blame you when you didn't even want that in the first place? Uh, it's not like you don't even expect it to happen. You're put on the spot to think on the spot on what to do while you're still trying to process what the hell is going on. So, yeah, I just didn't want to be silent and have people thinking that the mindset of they could have just said no is okay. There's a lot of things that could have been done. If you want to say that I could have just said no, I could have hired a guy and locked my door so that he didn't have a chance of coming in at all. Or maybe if I never moved into the offline TV house in the first place, this never would have happened. Or, this is even the crazier part, but he could have just not done it. Like, or even this, at the bare minimum, he could have asked before he did it. He could have not made his way downstairs into my room. There's so many things you could say that could have happened, but you choose to say you could have just said no. Out of everything. Instead of saying he could have just not done it. I am baffled by the amount of people who think that that phrasing is okay, or like that you could just say that to someone when they were put in, they're just literally thrown in a fucking situation like that. Sorry, I'm like shaking. I'm not trying to sound angry, but I'm just like, I feel like I'm not even angry for myself. Like, I just want to put the fucking message out there for other people to hear, because I'm okay. I am strong in what I believe in, and it won't affect me that much. But for the other people out there who feel like they have to second guess what happened to them or blame themselves, I am like upset for them to see comments like that, because it will affect them. Yeah. I'm like all riled up. I'm fucking ready to throw down. Okay. Another thing I wanted to address was when people said, you could have handled this privately. And Iman and Skara touched on this as well. And I also saw a lot of clips that other people were talking about it, why it couldn't be handled privately, and I'm really thankful that they spoke up about it, because that was one of like the comments I got the most, which is, why didn't you handle it privately? Excuse me. Okay. I kind of will explain the story in terms of like where distrust happens and why it's hard to believe that someone can change right away, or like in kind of like a time period where you feel like you have to give out a warning because change takes time to happen. And yeah, so I'm just gonna explain kind of like a timeline a little bit of like the story of how things developed, and just for you guys to better understand. So me and Fed were like super good friends. Like he was like my best friend in the house. He was someone that I was like super comfortable with. We would hang out every day. And I don't know if you guys remember this, but we'd be like on stream all the time together. I streamed for a lot of like streamed with him on his account like super often. And I would be in a lot of his videos or anything like that. So basically one day Toast had like a IRL stream. I don't know if you guys remember, but back then like Offline TV used to do a lot of group streams or house streams together. And this time it was on Toast's channel. And we were all sitting around the couch, and then we were kind of like playing videos on the TV. And then I remember I was particularly sensitive about this one video, and he was about to play it on the screen, and I remember I was feeling very frustrated. I was trying to say please don't play the video, and it felt like no one could take me seriously or like see that I was serious about it, because I know we like joke about things a lot. And so I basically was super frustrated, and I was like on the verge of tears, and I ran downstairs to my room to avoid the situation, because I didn't want to cry or like burst out in tears when I was there. And Sean, Lily, and Fed came down to my room. I remember I was like in my bed. I had like my blanket like over me, and my back was like turned to them. And Fed was saying like, if we have a safe word, if anything, like you remember, like it's pineapple, like all this kind of stuff. And I felt better that they came down and like tried to comfort me, but I still couldn't really say much, because if I said something, I think I would have like cried right there on the spot. And so Lily and Fed went back upstairs. Sean stayed downstairs to comfort me, and then I burst out into tears and I just cried for a bit. I cried a little bit, and then like it got all out, you know? And then I felt really bad, because I was like, shit, so like what if someone saw on stream that like I was crying, and like it was on Toast's channel, and I really didn't want there to be drama or anything like that. And so I went on the subreddit to check and see if anyone said anything about me. And they did. They said like something along the lines of Yvonne was very upset, like I don't know what happened, blah blah. And then I saw that someone commented along the lines of she's fine. She typed like debated in the chat, and that they thought like I was just kidding, that I was just pretending to be upset. And so I was like, wait a second, I never typed that from my phone. And I realized I left my like I had to go back upstairs to grab my phones, because when I ran downstairs I left them on the couch. And Fed was the only one who knew my passcode at the time. And so I tried confronting him, and I also went back to the VOD to see if people, like what people in chat were saying when I ran down, to see if they noticed as well. And I saw from that he was streaming the entire time when he went downstairs to check on me. And I didn't know that he was streaming. I thought that like they just came, because my back was turned to them when I was in my blankets. I thought that they just came down to just see if I was okay. I didn't know it was being streamed the whole time. And so I was extremely hurt because he was the one holding the camera. He was the one holding the stream. And so I message him and I say, like, why didn't you tell me that you were streaming? And I made sure to try and, like, when I messaged him, to try to make it seem very, like, coming from a place of hurt and not anger or aggression. And so I sent that message to him, and I also asked if he went on my phone and typed that in the chat, because it puts on a false narrative. It puts on like a, oh, she just like pretended to be upset for content, as if I fake that. And it's like, I don't. I was genuinely like, I wouldn't lie or fake that on stream. And so he was very like, his reply was, how was I supposed to know I can't read your mind? That I didn't want it to be streamed. And I was very upset, and I asked him again if he went on my phone, and he said, and he didn't even reply to that. He actually just like ignored it completely when both the times that I asked him if he went on my phone. And so I think at that point I just didn't want to even like confront him anymore or ask him. It felt like I wasn't gonna get A, the apology I wanted, and B, him to admit what he did wrong, or like even to say that he wouldn't do it again, I think. And that was the first time that I felt like I couldn't trust him anymore, and that we couldn't be super good friends, because I was really hurt. This is when we were the closest, that we, like, for a very long time we were really, really close. And I never imagined that, like, if I confronted him with a problem or like tell him that I was hurt, that he would respond that way to me. And that was when, like, the distance, I started like realizing, like, oh, I see. It was kind of like a mental note in terms of, I know we can still be good friends, but I see that I can't be that invested in you because of how you confront problems. How long ago was this? I can't remember exactly. I can't remember if it was like the day that Toast stream, was it like the, you ate like really hot chicken wings, or was it something? I'm sure if you find the Reddit thread in terms of that, you can find the date that it happened. Yeah. This is really bad timing, but I really need to pee. Sorry, I just drank a lot of this Starbucks drink. Okay, I'll be back. Sorry. I got pee. Sorry. Oh shoot. Oh, you league invite. Hold on, I'll exit. Um. Okay. Sorry, I'm trying to see where it was. Uh. My friend who just invited me said, "Oops, didn't see you. Invited you to an ARAM." Nice one. Okay. So other things that followed as well was this wasn't I guess ever since that phone thing when he also did this thing often as well where he would kind of I don't know necessarily but he would go on my phone and kind of just like I would never be able to see what he's doing because as soon as I try to look he like hides it. He did that sometimes, not all the time, but I didn't like it when he did that. And times when I'd be on my computer and my second monitor has my Discord and he'd be reading it, or I would go to a bathroom and I come out and like I would see him like kind of reading it, but like that's more understandable, I guess, if it was there, but it wasn't something that I liked, so I had a hard time like leaving my computer, I guess. Um I felt like I always had to lock my either shut down my computer or lock it so that you have to enter a password to get in. And I also changed my passcodes on my phone because I didn't want him to just like freely be able to go on my phone if I happened to leave it somewhere in the house. Just a side, kind of like a side note. And I remember I was at a rave and this girl actually came up to me and she wasn't the first one that I heard of who was afraid of how we saw her because of what Fed would tell us about her. She basically was someone who was talking to Fed, and Fed was super interested in this girl, and he even came up to me and he said, like, I think she's like the one. And he was telling me about all these things that he liked about her. And then I don't know what happened, but at some point he was just like, oh yeah, she just led me on. But I take what he says with a grain of salt because there's been history of him like just me not being able to fully trust him. So and I was right because this girl came up to me at, at the rave that we were at and she was very sad and she was just like, I hope you guys like don't think badly of me. I heard that Fed told you guys that I led him on and stuff like that, and she was just saying that wasn't the case, and she's yeah, so again, just felt really bad that she was worried we would see her a certain way because of what he tells us. Okay. And I don't know what would happen if I don't know if this whole thing ever would have happened or if I would have ever told anyone at Offline TV if Toast didn't guess it. So yeah, Toast actually he I think he noticed there was something kind of off about us because we were very close. I can't remember how it started exactly, but Toast was just uh like what's wrong, and kind of was it he guessed if it was Fed, and then he guessed like, and I even wasn't even gonna say it then, and I don't know if I would have ever said anything, but he asked if like Fed did anything to me, and I cracked, and I told him, and it was like a weight off of my shoulders because I haven't told anyone in Offline TV. This was like months later too, like months and months after it happened, because I was very scared that it would get out and that Offline TV would just die. And I didn't want that. I didn't want something that involved me to be like the cause of that. And that's when Toast reached out to Fed and told him that he's concerned that Fed pushes boundaries with girls, etc. And Fed was super upset about this because when Toast messaged him, Fed actually ran into my room and he was just like, oh, I can't believe Toast said this to me. You can ask any of the girls. I've never done anything like while I was drinking, etc. All this kind of stuff. And he was starting to write up a storm to Toast. I could see him like about to send Toast like kind of like a really strong message or deny it, and I didn't want Toast to get flack for trying to do something good, so I said that was the first time I told him. I said, no, Toast has very good reason to say that to you because it happened to me with you. And he was like, what? And I told him that something happened between us when he was drunk, and I asked him if he remembered. And he was just kind of like, oh my god, I'm a horrible person. I can't believe it, etc., etc. And yeah, I'm sure you guys saw my statement. It's like I'm just going over the story at this point, but yeah, one of the first things he said was, "Did you tell anyone?" And I said, "Toast." And then he went. I saw the way his brain, or like what his train of thought was. Then if Toast knows, this person knows. And if this person knows who else knows. He literally said that out loud. And I was still trying to comfort him at this point. And I was like, it's okay, like, this won't affect our friendship or us. Like, it's really okay. I was minimizing it so much. I told him, like, Sean is not mad at you. He's really understanding. He doesn't think you're a bad person at all. He knows you were drunk, etc. And I can't remember if Sean was working with us. Sean did our podcast at some point. But that was like a part-time job that really it wasn't a huge thing if he quit or not. And Sean would never, like, if he was really upset or like livid about it and didn't give Fed the benefit of the doubt, he would just quit. And he would just never, like, he wouldn't care about that. But Fed said that it would be in his best interest to not be upset at him. And I was super upset hearing that because Sean is so nice. Like, you did this to his girlfriend at the time, and like you're the one who should be asking for forgiveness. How could you say that? Sean is so fucking nice. And I'm trying to comfort him with, and he said, I was very upset. I remember when I was telling Toast, that was one of the things that I told him that upset me a lot. And he found out. And yeah, he didn't apologize to me at that time. I was just trying to make him feel better about the situation, so I didn't care. Which, to be fair, Fed probably also minimized it a lot because I made it seem like it was really okay. Which, it did feel okay, because I kept, like, I would say it didn't really get bad until we moved into... Actually, okay, maybe not. Maybe I don't know if I'm minimizing again, but... Sorry, I'm like all over the place. My brain is just... Okay. I remember him also saying when he found out that you start, oh my god, you start playing so much more League now, it all makes sense. And I tried reassuring him, like, oh no, like that's not the case, like, I'm just like, I just I've always played League, so I just started playing it more recently because of Twitch Rivals and stuff. um and just tried to make him feel better, that he wasn't like a bad person. um so basically, fast forward um a couple of months, and this ties into what Iman said about me about almost leaving offline. And I'm not sure if anyone from my community remembers this, but I was particularly emotional during my birthday, around the time of my birthday. I had cried for a week straight. I remember I was miserable and I felt like I remember this line exactly going across my mind, but I just thought there's nothing worth celebrating. And you guys didn't know at that time. And I remember reading my kudo board and stuff like that. And it was really emotional for me. I read Tosa's message, I bawled my eyes out. And there were a lot of other people who, I remember Nathan wrote this, but Nathan was like, uh, he said something along the lines of, I don't want you to think that you're just part of like offline, like you're really good as an individual as well, etc., etc. And that like hit so hard because I knew at that time there was a possibility that I wouldn't be with OTV anymore. So yeah. But yeah, basically we were having discussions of that, and Fed was the person that I worked with the most in terms of our company back then because he wasn't streaming, so it was our responsibility to do most of the OTV work. So he's kind of like the person keeping me in check, or like he would know how much work I'm doing and provide feedback to the rest of the members, or whatever we were working on. I didn't know this back then, and I learned recently. He went to a lot of our friends and ranted about me to them and told them that I was taking up a content creator spot in the house, that I didn't do anything except play League, and it led people to question maybe OTV isn't something that I'm really passionate about or cared about that much. And I was really emotional. I cried a lot because OTV was my home since moving to LA, and I cared about everyone a lot. I'm not making excuses either for tunneling into League so hard, because I believe that to some degree, like that's also me, right? Like I did that. I could have controlled it. The League was also really fun, so like I'm not trying to blame Fed entirely for that, but he was a part of the reason because I was trying to avoid him. And it was just easy if I was in a League game to just be like, I'm busy, or like I ranked a lot during that time. That was when I was really motivated to improve. And so it was really easy to just be like, oh, I'm in a ranked game, and he'd just leave. I didn't really feel excited or that I wanted to work with him that much. And I guess I also felt bad for that too, because it seemed like he wanted to like come in and talk or work with me at times. He was also one of the people that I confided in a lot about how sad I was that I was leaving. I remember this scenario specifically where I was laying in my bed and I was crying nonstop. And I was telling him how I felt OTV was family, and no matter where we went, whether it was conventions or events, that I always liked that I had like a general direction that I could walk to. Like at TwitchCon, if I see Lily or whoever, I would be able to just walk towards that general direction, because it's like you're walking to your family or your friends. Like it was that. And I was sad that, if we weren't together anymore, like I don't have a direction. And I explained that to him, and he told me that he wouldn't let that happen, that he would refuse to let me leave the group, and he made me feel a lot better. He told me he'd do everything in his power to keep me. I remember that. And so I guess it wasn't until I talked about it with all the girls, or Iman told me as well, that I learned that that wasn't the case. And living with him, like, yeah, small things just started triggering me a lot. And I honestly feel bad. I still feel bad that whenever he would walk into my room, I would instantly, like, not like it. He didn't even do anything wrong. He just would just walk into my room, and I instantly just... And I remember feeling bad, feeling very hot and cold towards him. Because he would be nice to me, and then I'd feel bad that I didn't feel that inside. So it was like this for a while, basically. But it went along with other things that you probably read in my statement that he did that made me feel uncomfortable. But yeah, these weren't huge things. They just kind of like added up. And yeah, this is the part where I guess I want to say, like, I appreciate Dr. K a lot, and how he helped me realize that the truth was really, really important to me, and that it did have to be resolved, especially when all the Me Too stuff started coming out, because I really, really, really didn't like that I had to lie when he asked me if the person lived in the house. Or I just don't like lying, period. Because it was something that I did a lot as a kid. I would lie to my parents all the time because they were very strict, and I was really scared of getting in trouble. And so ever since I, like, you know, I graduated university, or like, no, actually I would say earlier than that. Ever since I graduated high school, I didn't really have to lie to them anymore. I could just go wherever I wanted to go, and like there was no curfews, there wasn't anything too intense. So I felt so liberated that I didn't have to lie to my parents anymore. And from that day on, I didn't like lying in general, period. So when I was on Dr. K and I lied, it felt shitty. It was... that's why I like stuttered a bit, and people were making fun of me because I didn't want to lie. It was like my knee-jerk reaction to not say, to be dishonest about it, I guess. I'm kind of going on too long about this. Okay, next. And then we had the intervention where we discussed multiple times about how he leaves out certain points, and how he shares only what he wants other people to know, and it paints narratives that are in his favor, and it alters the truth. Yeah, after the intervention, and this is probably something that he needs more time to work on, and we should have known that as well, but he continued to run to other people and leave out what parts of what happened, so that it made him seem like less of a bad person, I guess, and basically not giving other people the full story. And there are other things as well that just showed a continued pattern of avoiding holding himself accountable for his actions, which is why I felt the need to make it public, and I wanted to make my own statement so that my truth is out there, so that people could see, and it's kind of like a warning to other girls or other people that he may come across, that this behavior is problematic. Yeah, I originally wasn't gonna make a statement from my end, but I decided I needed to, and he just needed to be held accountable for his actions and try to change for the better. And I just think that if you're constantly hiding or trying to avoid what you did, then the change would never happen. He would like continue. If we left things out or if we didn't tell everyone, he would just go to like the next person he could run to and repeat the problem behavior. Yeah. But that was why, when people ask why didn't you handle it privately, sorry, it was like a long spiel and like a whole timeline of things, but it's just like things just repeatedly kept happening that made it very hard too. Okay, and then kind of move on from that in terms of OTV. I know people are worried about our content and everything, but OTV is still together and we're just gonna be taking a very short content break. Everyone just needs a little bit of a mental break. We've been not sleeping very well and kind of trying to one up each other in terms of how many hours did you sleep last night? And then this happened yesterday. Scara was like, so I got 4 hours of sleep, and I was like, I raised you 3 hours. And I was like, I got, like, you know, we've just been comparing like the amount of stress and everything that we've been through is just crazy. We stayed up so many nights just talking about everything nonstop, just very draining. So yeah, we're gonna be taking a short break, but we'll be up and running again soon. And I know some people might be worried because Fed did do a lot of the behind the scenes at OTV, but it was actually, we kind of stopped doing it actually for about a month now. So we brought on Broden. Broden has been amazing, and he's been taking over what Fed was responsible for, which was like coming up with video ideas and like executing them and doing the shoots and everything. Yeah, he's been great. So actually like the last 3 shoots were stuff that Broden filmed and did. So yeah, and they were really good. They're really, really good. So I'm actually not too worried about our content in general. I just think that no matter what, we'll do our best. And hopefully it'll be good still. The key. Sorry, I'm trying to like read what I wrote. Like, why did I write this? Just briefly reading over the. Sorry, my brain is like after a. Okay, but yeah, I just kind of want to say that yeah, some of the comments were making my mental go boom, and I feel bad because Fed has to watch another one of these type of streams where we're talking about the situation. And like again, I just want to say like don't harass him, especially if he's trying to be a better person. None of that would help. I feel like I've read everything that people have to say about him, and it's already like it's already, you know, it's already bad. And like making it worse isn't gonna help. Just let him have his time and space to be a better person. And that's all I would want from him, really. I remember like I was kind of bothered because this whole time I never felt like I got a genuine apology from him. Actually, to be honest, even up until like the intervention, or even like at the intervention when he apologized to me, it was still a little bit hard for me to believe because of all the broken trust that's happened in the past. But he messaged me today or last night, and this was when like everything was out already, you know, the statements were out. Yvonne like wrote her statement or explained her statement and everything, and he wrote me a message, and at the end he said, I'm so sorry. And I don't think he has anything to gain from that, especially when everything is out already. So I believe that like he's, even if I don't know if he's gonna be a better person in the future, and I can't see the future, but I feel like he'll at least make the effort, so avoid like harassing or hating on him if possible. There's already a lot of bad comments and hateful stuff out there. I don't think any more will help him change for the better. And lastly, okay, maybe not lastly. I said lastly here, but there's like more written stuff underneath. Okay. I just want to thank OTV and my friends for helping me throughout this whole entire thing and making me very comfortable and feel supported no matter what decision I make. As well as Dr. K for helping me put into words on how I feel about the situation. He put my feelings into words and really made it so that I couldn't run from it anymore. And yeah, helped me realize how big of a problem it was when I felt like I couldn't say anything at the time. And this also made me realize how important it is to hold your friends accountable, the people that you care about accountable for the stuff that they do. And I think if I was also able to express the hurt I felt, or if I could have also recognized that it wasn't okay earlier and given him kind of like a longer time period to change. I'm not sure, but I guess I'm just sad that we found out so late about a lot of other things and it just had to come down to this. And to the people who said that Lily and I did this for clout or canceling him, etc. Just fuck you. It just, to anyone who made Lily doubt or sad that she even like said anything at all, you were a part of this problem. I was so angry for her. She cares about everyone. She has the biggest heart, and that's probably why she cared about those shitty comments that you said, not you, but other people said. So yeah. And I know I saw some things too that people were talking about how like streamers or entertainers are there to just entertain, that you shouldn't be so invested in their personal life or them, etc., which I agree. But there are, even if you don't know us, maybe there are certain qualities or traits in someone that you like or what type of person you want to be. And I want to say that being around like the people that I have in the house or my friends in general, it really kind of like opened my eyes to what that is, which is throughout this whole thing, Scara and Toast checking in with me countless times and talking to me for hours on end about how I felt and what I wanted to do. Michael reminding me how important it is to tell the world the truth and that we don't want to be the type of people to hide things or lie to protect someone. And Yvonne and Lily for wanting to stand up for what's right. Like, Lily told me she wanted to support me 100% behind me no matter what with her experience and statements. Yvonne gave her statement to provide more perspective and clarity on the situation after Lily and I were getting so many awful comments. And yeah, her statement actually like helped so much, and she went through so much shit as well, and I'm so glad that things were clarified for her as well, because she didn't deserve any of the shit that she had to go through. And yeah, so made me realize how important this all is, you know, standing up for your friends, doing what's right, supporting them, and making them feel very empowered to do what they want and what they think is right. So I really hope that there's ever a time that I can do the same for them too. But anyways, that is my ending to this. You guys don't have to worry about me. I had a lot of people reach out to me, and it was really, really nice. And yeah, I'm in really good hands. So, okay, this is it. We don't have to talk about it anymore. We can just move on and start over and just play League, Minecraft, whatever. Woof. Fuck, I was so fucking nervous. I'm still a little bit nervous, but it's okay. It's over with. Over with. Games, playing stuff, having fun from here on out. Okay. Minecraft, Elite, everything, etc. It's really hot. Oh, you guys were here. Did you guys watch? Oh no, I don't like knowing that you guys watch. It's really embarrassing.
The whole thing
Oh, it's so embarrassing.
No, it's okay. You're very strong.
I'm scared I would say too much or like not be very good at it.
Okay.
I'll play. What the?
We were just here for the fucking hug. We're fucking pieces.
What the fuck? We said Minecraft tonight, right?
No, I need like. There's a therapy.
Oh shit, me too. Wait, therapy together? I can't tell if we're actually not playing Minecraft. Wait, are we actually not playing? Oh, my foot's. Sorry. I can't move. I can't move. I can't move. Man, I just wanted to go back to normal. I was worried that I would feel whatever after this, and I just wanted to like, you know, go on to something. 1 sec. Okay, are we actually not playing? Again. Ah! Yeah?
Oh, we'll play whatever.
We don't play there. Yeah.
Minecraft?
I'm okay. Yeah, I'm down to play Minecraft and I just want to play games. Play the craft.